it's me, Nicolette Mashile, and welcome back to Conversations with IG. We've been having quite an interesting series where we're talking to the guys at IG about trading, right? Now, we all know when we think about trading, we think Forex trading, but there's so many other ways in which you can trade the financial markets, and really they can be really interesting because once you actually get to understand them, they can potentially become a lucrative way for you to start building your wealth. We do have Sean Merson in studio today, so I'm quite excited because we're going to be having this conversation with him. So let's go for it. We've seen quite a boom in the country of people wanting or having an interest in investing in Forex, right?
Yes.
And you know, I think I'm asked this question quite often: is it a scam? And I mean, it's not a scam. Foreign exchange, most of the financial institutions have foreign exchange departments, right?
Sure.
Now, can you perhaps maybe assist us in how does IG assist in that? If somebody's watching at home and they realize, oh, I can trade Forex from the IG platform, how do you guys ensure that? I know you've touched a little bit on it, but how do you ensure that you protect a person like an elderly person or somebody who's unemployed but trying to make money through Forex?
To address this issue, IG runs a series of suitability questions when applying for a trading account with us. Clients are also protected by, we've talked about segregated funds, and also you can't do third-party transfers. So you are the only person that can deposit money into your account or withdraw money from your account. You can't move that money into somebody else's account.
So I can't be. There's no way in which I could be a passive trader, where I just give you guys my money.
I think trading by implication means a bit more,
you're involved.
more active. So IG, what we do is we give you the facilities to be able to enable and empower yourself. We give you access to live news services, fundamental information, charting and technical analysis tools, all these wonderful things. But we don't manage funds on your behalf.
Okay.
We are what we call an execution-only broker.
Because what I'm foreseeing is now somebody that's sitting there thinking, geez, I could go and if these elderly people are not passing the litmus test, and I'm going to call it the litmus test, which essentially is a risk test, right? On the IG platform, I could group them and I could do it on their behalf. Is that even allowed?
I think this is where traders need to be new traders need to be very, very careful about getting involved in the market and giving their money to people that are not licensed or allowed to trade the funds on their behalf. You can't bypass the system in this way. If you do want someone to trade on your behalf, make sure that they are working for a licensed firm and carry the correct licenses to manage those funds for you.
Because I think that's quite important for us to highlight, because that essentially is what most of these Forex traders who trade on behalf of people lead with. Oh, I'm trading on a very reliable and trustworthy platform. But it's all good and well that you're doing it on that platform, which perhaps could be an IG platform, but are you allowed to do it on my behalf? And I think that's what we need to.
Unless you're correctly licensed, no, you're not. So, we all learn from each other, and you might have somebody that's introduced you to the market and give you some information, and they can maybe even help you with the ability. But I would, it's not legal for you to give that person their funds and then trade on your behalf in that regard.
What's correctly licensed?
You need a license with the FSCA.
With the FSCA.
And now with they're introducing something called ODP license, over-the-counter derivatives license, for providers of those products.
Because essentially, if you are trading on my behalf, you are acting as an FSP.
You're rendering a financial service, and if you're not authorized to render that financial service, then,
How in your guys' trends, millennials, are they buying into trading CFDs?
We're seeing a very, very strong interest from millennials at present. And I think that's because, millennials are very, very tech savvy, and they like the idea of being able to trade financial markets across the world just from the palm of their hand. IG is very, very proud of that technology. We believe we have some of the best technology in that regard. And so not only can you just trade, but you can also access amazing information, live news services, live charting, all sorts of information that's going to help inform your decision about placing a trade.
You spoke a little bit about losses, right? Or you alluded to it. And I think I want to touch on that a little bit, because the idea or the culture in South Africa is people it's almost like people want to do certain things on euphoria. You know, they think that if I get into it, the WhatsApp stock fells, triple M, Kipi, if I get into it, I'm gonna make my money. They don't think about the potential loss that could happen. Please, can you take us through that?
Unfortunately, losses are part of trading. You're not going to get it right every time. Even if you have a strategy where you write 9 out of every 10 times, you don't know when you press the button if it's going to be one of the 9 times that you're right or that one time that you're wrong. The good news is that using facilities like IG make available, you can use things like stop loss. And you can put in your order. So if you want to buy at this price and you want to say, well, I want it to go there, this is my take profit. You can also say, well, if it goes against me or moves unfavorably, get me out of the trade. By doing that, what you're doing is you're limiting your losses and keeping your losses small. Because if you keep your losses small and your winners big, you're going to have a much better time trading in this market.
I'm trying to cheat the system now in my head. I'm like, okay, so let's go back to the house example. If I've put in my 100,000 rand, the house is R1 million, and I'm saying it's gonna go positively, and then can I put a stop loss at R1 million so that if it goes low?
Yeah, and look at the housing market's probably not as liquid, so there's not as much activity as you know, especially in South Africa right now, as you would see in the stock market. So there's millions of orders coming in and out of the market. So you can predetermine that. IG actually gives you a facility, what we call a guaranteed stop loss.
Okay.
So if you're getting into a market and it was to move to X level, you can't put it too close. You've got to have some breathing room.
Okay.
And but we will guarantee to get you out at that particular level.
Sure,
so your loss is predetermined, irrespective.
That almost sounds like an insurance product for my trading.
Well, it is. That's
cool.
actually the app's description for it.
Yeah.
You know, it's what you call a limited risk account. I'm not sure how many other brokers offer it, but a limited risk account means that you can put in trades and guarantee that that's the maximum risk that you would take in that particular trade.
Sure, that sounds interesting because it makes it a little bit more predictable. And I think the thing about investing, and they talk about high volatility when it comes to, you know, even whether you're investing or trading equity or bonds, you know, property, is that thing that there's no guarantee. But if you guys are saying there's a possibility where it can be guaranteed at a certain point, that then gives me comfort as an investor or even a trader.
No, within reason.
How do we then ensure that even somebody who might not necessarily be a risk financially, but could potentially be a risk education-wise because they don't have enough education, how do you guys empower that person? Okay,
so we provide educational content from our site. So we talked a little bit about the IG Academy app, where you can access from either your mobile device as a separate app or from your desktop, laptop. What we also do have, which I think is quite a nice feature, is it's something called a demo training account. So it's almost like...
So I'm not going cold turkey at first.
It's and I'd recommend anyone that's new to the market maybe to test drive the system. You know, it's almost like having a bicycle with training wheels. So you open the account, you have access to live markets, you can access from your phone, you know, from any of your devices. You can buy and sell. You can make a profit or a loss. The only thing that's not real is the money.
What I am is that now I make a huge profit and it's a demo account. And I'm just like, oh man.
And so it's like playing a game of Monopoly, so to speak, in the trading environment. And I think very, very quickly, if you treat that, once you've developed the skill from practicing, because that's really what you're doing in a no-risk environment, then you can start thinking about maybe taking the wheels off. When we say about empowering people, it's also about suitable product. And so with that, educate and create that experience in the market. And when you have sufficient savings in that, then commit maybe a small portion of that to the high risk environment, high reward environment.
I really want to ask you something.
Sure.
Do you know lobola?
Yes.
That's a lot of cows, right? That families have to pay. Can I see CFD in the livestock market?
Well, we'll have to speak to our pricing team and see if we can set one up
I mean,
for you.
cows, really, the prices of cows changes every single day, in my opinion, you know?
Okay.
So it would be very interesting to see if I could take a position there by the cows. And
Is there someone that needs to pay Lobola in your life?
no, I'm just saying. I want to help the brothers out.
Just checking. Just checking.
Yeah, but it's been quite an interesting conversation, and I think a lot of us have gotten an understanding now of what CFDs are, but most importantly, the culture of trading in the country, because I think that is the biggest issue, is that when people think trading in the country, they think get rich quick schemes. They think I can make my money as quickly as possible, right?
Yeah.
So just to close this off, I'd like you to maybe give that, and I don't want to call it advice because obviously we're not financial advisors, but if you were giving a brother or a cousin or a son that that advice around the flashy lifestyle that is being portrayed when it comes to trading, what would you say?
I'd say be wary about fast cars and all the pretty dressed up girls and the ways people used to market that. I think that's a warning sign in the industry.
Yeah.
There is money to be made, but it does take a bit of work.
Yeah.
Educate yourself. Choose, if you're going to choose a provider, make sure that they're correctly licensed, regulated.
Yes.
And take it slow. Just take it slow. Use the training wheels of the demo accounts that are on offer there, where you can just practice with no money. See if it's for you. You'll get a very quick, understanding whether this is something that you enjoy or something you don't.
Yeah.
And then progress. Progress from there.
Could I outsmart the market? I don't know how smart I need to be. Could I potentially outsmart the market?
Well, do you want to outsmart it, or do you just want to,
I want to outsmart it.
Or do you want
using your guys' technology?
Align with the market.
I want to make money.
I always hear, people talking about there has to be winners and losers, but that's not actually the case.
Okay.
If you think about this example, if you buy a share, and I just keep using shares example, it could be a Forex.
Yeah.
You buy a share at 10 Rand a share.
Okay.
And the share goes up to 15 Rand a share.
Yes.
Your difference, your contract for difference is a 5 Rand. That's what you made for every share that you've had.
Yes.
Now you sell that share at 15 Rand to the next person.
Yes.
They buy it from you. You've made your money. The share goes up to 20 Rand. They sell it to the next person.
So you essentially, because you've sold, could have made that extra 5 Rand, but you've sold it to someone.
Yeah, I have a different opinion. People say it's a zero-sum game. I say it depends on what the market environment is.
Okay.
Generally, in trending market environments, it's easier to make money.
Yeah.
So when things are going up, a rising tide lifts all boats, so to speak. And it's just really, for us, what we like to do is just identify where those trends are in the market.
Yeah.
And that's where we talk about the facilities and the charting and those types of tools are going to help you with that.
Oh, so within your investment pot,
correct,
there must be a high risk investing.
Well, it's really up to a person's appetite for risk. I think if you're looking at investing as being sort of your long-term bread and butter, then you'd look at maybe the short-term trading side as trying to be that sort of cherry on top.
A young cake, a small cake, piece of chocolate cake. Yeah.
I think bread and butter with a cherry on top is quite a strange, sandwich, but I think you get what I'm saying on that.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, so you're saying it's definitely not for everybody. It's not an investment strategy for everyone. It's part of an investment strategy dependent on your profile as a person, where you are and what your needs are.
I think it's dependent on your appetite for risk.
For risk.
But it is somebody for anybody that is interested in it, provided that they meet that MiFID scoring we talked about.
So what would be your biggest caution?
Manage your risk.
Okay.
Because there's great facilities to do that.
Yeah.
When you're trading, you can have a great strategy, and you do need a strategy when you're trading. And there's lots of strategies that work out there, but you might have a strategy that works 9 times out of 10.
Yes.
And in theory, 9 times out of 10 means you should make money.
Yeah.
Right. But every time you place a trade, you don't know if it's one of the 9 times that you're going to be right, or that one time that you're going to be wrong.
Yes.
If you commit too much money to the one time that you're wrong, then you're going to erase the profits from the 9 times that you're right. So use things like stop loss, to manage that risk in the market.
Yes.
Because if your strategy, if you're risking a little bit to make a lot, you only have to be right 50% of the time to actually make money in the market. So there's lots of different ways of doing it. You don't have to be right all the time. It's just knowing what to do on those occasions where you are wrong.
So it's almost like a degree of wrongness, I call it,
Well, it's about predetermining your worst case scenario. We hope for the best, but we prepare for the worst. And that's really what trading is about.
I love that. Prepare for the worst. You hope for the best, but you're still prepared for the worst.
Correct.
And if the worst does come, it does not hit you at, that where you are upside down, top dizzy, you don't even know what's actually going on.
Exactly.
Right? Okay, perfect. So that's now the second thing that you would caution against. What's the third thing that you would really say, invest in this so that you can prepare for the worst?
I'd just say invest in your knowledge. Invest in your knowledge and that skill set. Because when you are trading, I think it's very, very important to develop the skill first. When people start trading, they start thinking to themselves that they want to make money. And that's what we come here for. We want to trade, we want to make money. And I agree with that principle. But if you just focus on making the money, you don't develop the skill. If you develop the skill and you create that skill, then you should make the money.
It's almost like that survivorship bias where you get, as you said, the 9 times out of 10 that you get it right. You get it right 9 times. Now you think that my strategy really works, but it's not developed by any knowledge. It's not backed up or justified by anything. But because it's worked so many times, you kind of get stubborn and get tunnel vision around that. Is that?
No, not all strategies are 9 times out of 10. I just want to clarify that.
Yes.
I'm just saying that the principle I'm trying to get across is that eliminate big losses from your trades.
Yes.
And it's very easy to do.
Yeah.
But when you're trading, it's emotional. So the tendency is a natural way of trading is you get into a trade.
Yes.
It moves favorably. You think, great, I've made some money, I'm right. And you take that, you lock in that profit.
Yeah.
The alternative to that is you get into a trade and it's not a good one. It goes against you and you look at it and you see, I've lost a little bit of money. What's your natural instinct? I'm going to hold on.
Yes.
I'm going to wait for it to get better.
Yes.
And then what happens? It gets a bit worse. And then the next day, you just say, okay, well, only if it got back to where it was yesterday then I'll get out. And then it gets... So you can avoid all of that by making... if I can give one bit of trading advice is make all the important decisions about trading before you get into the trade. So say, I want to take profit here. I want to limit my risk here. And then place the trade.
And I think that's the nice thing about it being a contract of what? Contract for difference, is that what it's called? Contract for difference. CFDs. Because the nice thing about a contract is you almost come in knowing what is your win and what could be your loss, right? You don't know how big your win will be, but you know that there could be a win or there could be a loss, right?
You can, within certain parameters, you can predetermine losses with a limited risk account.
All right. I've got one more thing that I really want to talk about, and I think it straddles something that you had said. You said quite a lot of the stuff that we do is emotion, and I think you've actually just demonstrated a nice example of, there's a loss today, you think, let me just hold on to it, then tomorrow it's worse, and then you try to adapt to that emotion, and you're like, if I could just go back to where I was yesterday. Where does greed play like a role? Because I just feel like most of the financial failures, have had some attribution to greed.
I think in trading, so look, we want to get the most out of a trade.
Of course.
And we've talked about earlier on, stop loss in principle is looking at limiting your risk in a trade, but it can also be used to lock in a profit and ride out trend and try and make the most. I think when it comes to greed, what you do find is that when traders are making money and they have a couple of good trades and that they can sit in a type of euphoria. We talk, the opposite of a depression is sort of an excitement and that can lead towards a tendency to maybe overtrade. Or take positions that are too big. So you think, if only I traded bigger, I could have made so much more money. And then it gets into that 9 times out of 10 times when this is the trade you actually get wrong and then you erase, so greed is associated with a euphoria in the market. So be aware of that, I'd say. You're going to have emotions in the market, just be aware of those emotions when you're trading. And just try to contain it. And I think containing that is also about predetermining, you'll buy, you'll sell, you'll take profit in that before you get into the trade, before you a victim of emotion.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the future then of CFDs. What are the market trends currently? What are we looking to in the future? Are we going to see an influx of more people jumping onto it?
Look, it's definitely reaching more people now because now we have access, like I say, from the palm of our hands.
Yes.
IG's been looking at some very interesting products, from local and international accounts.
Yeah.
Some of them are there's now you can trade things like cannabis index. There's a lot of talk about cannabis. So it looks at the biggest companies listed on the the Canadian and US exchanges and that, and you can trade an index. If you don't know which is the best cannabis stock and you believe in that future, you can actually buy that index.
You don't have to
within
smoke
that.
it yourself to figure it out. Okay.
Exactly. So you can do that, but if maybe you're against it, maybe you have the view that this is maybe a bit hard. Maybe the regulation around the industry could impact its future.
Yeah.
You can take a short position in the market. So you can actually say that, well, I think that this market's going to fall, and you can trade something like that. So there's been a lot of interest around something like that. We know that there's an ebb and flow of interest in the cryptocurrency market as well, which we do offer.
Yeah.
On the cryptocurrency side as well, you don't just have to choose which is the best one, Bitcoin or Ripple or any of that. You can also trade a cryptocurrency index.
Yeah.
So that's a basket of just grouping all of those different cryptocurrencies together, and it's tracking the performance of the bulk of that cryptocurrency market. And again, if you think it's a positive market, you could be buying that, taking long positions. Or if you think that market's going to crash and burn, then you could take short positions, and you'd benefit if it was to fall.
Guys, we've had quite an interesting conversation around trading specifically, especially in South Africa, the culture of trading. Now, we know that every single day we are looking for money-making opportunities, but we still want them to be safe, to be reliable, and to make sure that we don't actually incur huge losses. And I think Sean has really put it very well. It is about the knowledge, get the right knowledge, and use the available tools and resources to make sure that you don't suffer those big losses. But in anything, whether it is trading, whether it's investing, there is potential for you to be able to make a loss. Now, it's been quite an interesting conversation for me per se, because I have learned quite a lot. You hear the word CFDs being thrown around, but you don't really get to understand what it actually really is. Now, in our next video, we sit down again with Sean and we get to understand IG now as a company and a platform and an execution platform that allows you to be able to trade these financial markets. So please do stay with us.